So friends, for today's video, I wanted to go through a list of some anticipated fantasy releases for the month of October. As usual, I'm going to start out by just giving a general overview of some sequels that are projected to be released in this upcoming month. I won't be going in depth with the synopses for these, as because they are sequels, if you are already familiar with the series, then you already know what you're getting into, and this more so serves as either a reminder that the sequels are going to be coming out or giving you a heads up in case you didn't already know. And then from there, we'll be looking at either first in series, standalones, or new debut stories. We actually will kind of get into what the synopsis is relaying about the book. All of these, regardless, their projected release dates, as well as pre-order links, will be in the description bar down below. Before I jump into those, there were a couple from September that I didn't get the chance to mention, and so I want to correct that first. And in the same way I described for doing with October, I'm going to do that for September. There are 2 sequels that I didn't get a chance to mention, and then one where I will go into what the synopsis says. The 2 sequels, though, one of them would be The Art of Legend, specifically the 3rd book in its given series. The first book is The Art of Prophecy, which I've described before as feeling like a martial arts film in book form, more specifically maybe something like a Jackie Chan martial arts film, because there is a lot of really silly humor, and sometimes even humor that feels rooted in the environment as well, and how that is incorporated into the action scenes. But it's very cheeky and it's very silly, but also it's kind of awesome and epic at the same time. So it's a lot of fun. I do plan to at some point reread the first book and then carry on, because I've been waiting for this first one to come out, or excuse me, this 3rd one to come out for a while, and now that it has, I want to go back through and then make my way through the entirety of the series. The other sequel, a big thank you to one of you for reminding me about this one coming out. It is called The Witch Who Stormed the Palace. A middle grade story. The first book I thought was absolutely delightful and so much fun. If you are looking for a good middle grade fantasy story to pick up, either for yourself, because maybe you on occasion just like the nostalgia of it, I would say this first one is a perfect fit for that. But also if you're somebody who has a child in your life, whether it's your own child or a niece or nephew, or maybe you're a teacher, I do think that this series is a lot of fun. So I am really excited for the second one to come out. And then I'm actually so embarrassed going away from sequels and just getting into other books. I'm so embarrassed. I did it again. I had a whole video earlier in the year dedicated to why can't I ever seem to have Aaron A. Craig's books on my radar. I feel like it has to do with the fantasy niches that I'm within. And I even noted at the time, because a lot of you were like, oh, there's a new one coming out later this year. And I'm like, I can't do it again. I can't forget that she has another book coming out. And then I did it again. So apologies. But the book is called A Land So Wide. And I have yet to be disappointed by anything Aaron A. Craig has written. I've really enjoyed all of it. So I really hope to like this one as well. And the synopsis for this one says, like everyone else in the settlement of Mistaken, Greer Mackenzie is trapped. Founded by an ambitious lumber merchant, the village is blessed with rich natural resources that have made its people prosperous, but at a cost. The same woods that have lined the townsfolk's pockets harbor dangerous beasts, wolves, bears, and the bright-eyeds, monsters beyond description who have rained utter destruction down on nearby settlements. But Mistaken's founders made a deal with the mysterious benevolence. The warding stones that surround the town will keep the bright-eyeds out and the town's citizens in. Anyone who spends a night within Mistaken's border belongs to it forever. Greer, a map maker and eccentric dreamer, has always ached to explore the world outside, even though she knows she and her longtime love, Ellis Beaufort, will never see it. Until on the day she and Ellis are meant to finally begin their lives together, Greer watches in horror as her beloved disappears beyond the warding stones, pursued by a monstrous creature. Determined to rescue Ellis, she figures out a way to defy Mistaken's curse and begins a trek through the cold and pitiless wilderness. But there, Greer is hunted not only by the ruthless Bright-Eyeds, but by the secret truths behind Mistaken's founding and her own origins. And in general, I have always found that this author writes fantasy horror or fantasy thriller, depending on how you look at it. I just feel like she writes it so well. Some of them feel a little bit more youthful, a little more fairy tale feeling. Some of them feel a little bit more like that slow moving horror type of story. This one, I'm guessing, is going to feel more like what Small Favors felt like. And I am very excited because I really enjoyed that book and I am absolutely down for more like it. Now officially moving into October, there are 3 sequels that I want to give a heads up about. One of them would be The Queen Demon by Martha Wells. We also have Lives of Bitter Rain. I do want to note with Lives of Bitter Rain by Adrian Tchaikovsky, that I'm not entirely sure if this is exactly a direct sequel. At the very least, I think that it takes place in the same world as some other stories. It might be a collection of novellas, but I figured I'd list it here because I would imagine that you probably, if you're excited about this one, it's because you've read the other ones within this world. And then the last one for the sequels would be The Demon and the Light. The first book in this duology actually came out earlier this year, The Floating World, and it was a lot of fun. So I'm excited that the second book, it won't have to wait very long to pick that one up. Now getting into what I'm going to call our regular releases. First up, we have Alchemy of Secrets. This is Stephanie Garber's adult debut, and it says, local legends and urban myths taught by a woman called the Professor. Most students believe the Professor's stories are just fiction, but Holland St. James has always been convinced that magic is real. When she tracks down a local legend named the Watchman, who can supposedly tell you when you'll die, the world finally makes sense, except that the Watchman tells her she will die at midnight tomorrow unless she finds an ancient object called the alchemical heart. With the clock ticking, Holland is pulled deeper into this magical world in the heart of Los Angeles and into the path of a magnetic stranger. Everything about him feels like a bad idea, but he promises Holland that her sister sent him to protect her. As they chase clues and stories that take them closer to the alchemical heart, Holland realizes everyone in this intoxicating new world is lying to her, even this stranger. And if she can't figure out whom to trust, not even the alchemical heart will save her. This, to me, actually sounds kind of a lot like Stephanie Garber's first series, the Caraval series, in the way that it just kind of has this almost magical realism, fantastical, nonsensical feel to it, and there being something to do with his sister. Regardless, it kind of feels like a more grown-up and more historical feeling Caraval in a sense. I don't know. I'll be interested to see if I think that sounds like my cup of tea. I honestly am not sure. Next up, we have The Omen Girl. Okay, in the little tagline at the top, it uses a phrase I've never seen before. But if this phrase becomes popular enough that more and more stories could be categorized this way, or if this is speaking to fantasy to come, I'm not gonna lie, this would be a trend I'm on board with. So it says, depending on if you say Studio Ghibli or Studio Ghibli, it says a pulse racing Ghibli punk debut, or Ghibli punk debut. And I'm like, oh my gosh. In the same way that we say steampunk or silk punk, if we could get that to be that commonly used, that's exciting because I love that studio's works. But anyway, it says a pulse racing Ghibli punk debut of magic, redemption, and a love that survives the dark between stars. So the synopsis says, abandoned by her parents when her omen stain appeared, Sozo survives the streets through her secret weapon, her ability to conceal her curse. It's a rare talent that her shadowy mentor, Esp, sees as the key to infiltrating and competing in the decade race of stars. The race is deadly, but the prize is irresistible. A single wish for anything. Esp dreams of using it to reshape the world, and Sozo convinces herself the risk is worth it. But keeping her stain hidden and her monstrous side in check is harder with every challenge, especially when Sunny Naki enters the picture, offering her kindness and friendship she was never allowed. As Sozo fights to survive the race, doubt creeps in. Should she claim the wish for Esp, no matter the cost? But what if it hurts Naki? With monsters lurking inside and out, Sozo must decide whose future she's fighting for and if she's willing to pay the ultimate price. After that, we have a new book by Marie Lu. This is her adult fantasy debut, and it's called Red City. Alchemy is the hidden art of transformation, an exclusive power wielded by crime syndicates that market to the world's elite in the form of sand, a drug that enhances those who take it into a more perfect version of themselves. More beautiful, more charismatic, simply more. Among the gleaming skyscrapers and rolling foothills of Angel City, alchemy is controlled by two rival syndicates. When two childhood friends step into that delicate equation, the city and the paths of their lives will be irrevocably transformed. Once they might have loved each other, but as two alchemists face off across opposite sides of an ever-escalating conflict, ambition becomes power, loyalty becomes lies, and no transformation may be perfect enough for them both to survive the coming war. That one definitely sounds like it's mixing in dystopian elements, which I think is really exciting because I think fantasy has been been there, done that for a little bit now, and I think a lot of us are craving things that feel a little bit different, so the idea of incorporating dystopian elements into our fantasy feels really exciting, I think. After that, we have The Lost Reliquary, and this one says its comp titles are Godkiller and Gideon the Ninth, which is very exciting to me. I feel like that alone has me very intrigued. And the synopsis says, the devoted lands was once home to many gods. Now, after centuries of brutal wars, only Tempestra and Nara, the enduring flame, remains. As a divine warrior, Lys is outwardly loyal to her goddess. If she dreams of deicide, that's her business. When a routine heretical execution erupts into a near-fatal assassination attempt on Tempestra and Nara, Lys sees a glimmer of hope for her freedom. Lys has chosen to hunt down the heretics and fight an ancient reliquary with the power to kill a god. Annoyingly, she's not alone. Paired with Nolan, a warrior from a rival cloister who is as pious as he is determined, Lys must feign devotion if she hopes to keep her own god-killing ambitions within reach. But as they pursue the heretics linked to the assassination, Lys uncovers a world with more possibility and peril than she ever anticipated. I think that one sounds like it has the potential to be really fun, really cheeky, and I, in general, just like the whole concept. I think the whole concept sounds like it could be a blast. I don't know. I'm really excited. I hope if I get the chance to pick that one up, that I end up really liking it. But anyway, that's it for some anticipated releases for October, as well as a few things that I missed from September. As usual, I'll have all of the projected release dates as well as pre-order links in the description bar down below. Thanks so much for watching, though. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you later.